Welcome to Preps Insider. It's week 4 of the high school football season, and I'm joined by the Kane County Chronicle sports editor, Jay Schwab, Kane County Chronicle sports reporter, Kevin Drewley, and I'm BATV broadcaster, Jim Leo. And once again, we're here to talk high school football, and there were a lot of interesting games in week 3. Geneva St. Charles East was one with quite a bit of local flavor and a solid game that a lot of teams and a lot of fans in the area were looking forward to. Kevin, tell us what surprised you most about this game. Two teams coming in 0-2, and the result, Geneva on top by 10. But what surprised you in watching that game?
Really, mostly, Jim, it was the way that St. Charles East was moving the ball and scoring with pretty decent regularity. The 10-point margin you mentioned, both teams actually had blown an earlier 10-point leads. East came in, they only had the one touchdown in 8 quarters, and that was in the first quarter, week 1 at Carmel. But really just struggling. They had Mike Brown, who's back playing football this year. He was returning to the team and their leading rusher, but really beyond him, they were struggling to get any kind of rhythm. But this game, they come out with Zach Zychek, who we remember that name from last year. He was their leading rusher then. Had switched over to receiver because of Brown getting here, and Jerry Fialka, the fullback, as a transfer, and he had a real good camp. But Mike Fields said, hey, I want to give Zychek the ball, and he said that, he didn't have any qualms about saying it. I think that Geneva certainly knew to expect some more touches from Zychek, but there he was, gaining quite a bit of yards. Fields didn't want to call it the Wildcat, but he was taking Wildcat snaps. He called it actually the ZZ Top, but it was Zychek really running and doing some good things out of that formation, and I know they like what they saw, and certainly they would have liked to get a win, but they do know now that they can score, and that Zychek is a real good option for that.
Yeah, they found some creative ways to score some points against Geneva. Unfortunately for St. Charles East, falling short, even though they had a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter. Jay, what struck you as interesting looking at the Week 3 games locally here?
Marmion's defense, I'm guessing in that Suburban Christian Conference, which is a great football conference, that eventually someone's going to figure that defense out and gash them a little bit. But so far, man, it's the first 3 weeks, week 1 against the Batavia team that has proven to have a pretty good offense, hold them to a touchdown, clamped down on Mundelein, I believe held them to 6 points the second week, and then last week St. Francis, which is an excellent team, excellent program, came in at 2-0, and to shut out St. Francis as they did, and that wing T offense that St. Francis runs really well, you've got to, over a course of a game, to shut out a team like that, you've got to really play with remarkable focus and not have any little mental lapses here and there with your assignments. So game ball goes, I think, to that Marmion coaching staff and the kids on that defense, but really they must have had a heck of a game plan defensively against St. Francis, and averaging less than 5 points a game, opponents against them the first 3 weeks, that's awfully impressive. And Crosstown ACC 2-1, that's a program that's really been down in the dumps for several years, so to see them 2-1 after 3 weeks, I guess you'd have to call that a little bit of a surprise also.
Sure. Well, now there's some teams that are struggling definitely in after 3 games so far in the high school football season. Guys, I know it's only 3 games. It's only 1/3 of the season. But which teams locally here do you think have a shot at kind of digging themselves out of a hole and getting back to at least a 5-4 or maybe 6-3 mark to qualify for the playoffs? Kevin?
Well, Jim, I think it was both those teams that we saw Friday night at Burgess Field. Certainly Geneva has the head start because they're 1-2 and not 0-3. But both teams really left feeling pretty good just about what they saw and knowing what they had. Geneva certainly wants to amp up the defense and get it to where it's been in recent years. Against the Saints, they were without a couple defensive linemen, including Andrew Mariani, who we know from those past couple playoff runs. Though they did show some good things. They had a rotation. They got some young guys getting in there, getting experience, and I know they feel that'll help them down the line. Offensively, they feel really good too. The running game is more than just Connor Quinn running the ball all the time. You've got Joe Sella. You've also got the passing game that really impressed people, especially down the stretch. Matt Williams completed his last 9 passes in that game. Really got something going with Russ Acton, who we were calling Tough Acton, Russ Acton, after the game. But he had 5 catches for 100 yards, or about 100 yards after the half. So really Geneva wants to, they know that they're a good offense. They want to step up the defense, but they've got a not smooth sailing schedule. They've got a tough crossover game with South Elgin coming up down the stretch. But I know that they got this win, so just need 4 more to get in the playoffs. With East, certainly 0-3, but like we said earlier, the offense is showing signs of life and knowing that they can get in, and that's half the battle, is just putting up more than 7 or 0 points in a game. The defense, too, has come around, trying to get to last year's levels, but they feel like they can compete with everybody. They just got to finish. That's the biggest thing that Coach Fields was saying is we've done everything really but finish, and we've got to learn how to do that.
Jay, is there a team in the Upstate 8 that you think will be able to pull out of a tough start so far, kind of like St. Charles East and Geneva?
I'd say Geneva probably has the best chance, but St. Charles North, even though things were ugly on Friday on their home field, they lost a lopsided game against Neuqua Valley. They need to get some guys back. There is some talent on that roster. Defensively, there's not enough depth to withstand some injuries. They had 3 starters during the course of that game on Friday who ended the game watching with some injuries, so they need to get most, if not all, those guys back. And then the wild card with North is Jake Bergeron, the kid who's supposed to be their starting quarterback this year, and had a couple broken fingers, so he sat out the first 3 weeks. We'll have to check in with North later this week and see if there's a chance he could be coming back this week, but he should be back soon. And the way they've struggled on defense, I know there was some thought maybe early in the year that he's a kid that they could potentially use on the defensive side of the ball in addition to, or maybe even instead of, as quarterback. So we'll see how they use Jake when he's able to come back, but he's an excellent athlete, and getting him back and some of those kids who are hurt defensively combined with a pretty manageable schedule. They got their tough crossover game out of the way on Friday. North, I think, will at least be flirting with the playoff bid if they can't, obviously, hopefully for their sake, seal the deal. So.
And, of course, trying to cut teams to under 49 points would be a good start for St. Charles North.
Defense still has more to do.
Still an issue. But still the teams that are 0-3 have a good chance at coming back and making the playoffs. Thanks so much, guys, for joining us. And we'll be back again next week.